Good morning and welcome to Carolina Center for Spiritual Awakening. I'm Reverend Christy Snow, and on behalf of our board and our membership, we're so glad that you're here with us this morning. We are looking forward to being able to be together in person again soon in Charlotte, and we will continue this online broadcast as well. So online family, wherever you're streaming in from, we're glad you're here. Charlotte family, same. So I am also wanting to say a quick thank you. Just a special thank you. I had so many people reach out after last week's talk and such heartfelt, loving comments in the comment section, and also reaching out saying how happy they were to see me after being away for 6 weeks from COVID and pneumonia. And I'm getting all my strength back a little bit at a time, so I'll do a little less music today than normal, but I am singing again. The lungs are cooperating, so here we go. I see you for the light that you are. I see you for the love that you are. I see you for the light that you are. I see your light. I see your love. I see who you are. Turn to someone in the comment and tell them good morning this morning, and tell them you see the love and the light that they are, and affirm it for yourself. I see you for the light that you are. I see you for the love that you are. I see you for the light that you are. I see your light. I see your love. I see who you are. I see your light. I see your love. I see who you are. I see you for that beautiful, unique expression of the divine light of love, and I'm so glad that you are here. What I recognize is that in this energy of love and awareness, it is easier for me to sing this song knowing that we are one, we are one, we are one. We are one, we are one. I am you, you are me, we are one. And in this unity, we can live in harmony, and peace has come, for we are one. We are one. We are one. I am you, you are me, we are one. And in this unity, we can live in harmony. Yes, peace has come, for we are one. We are one, one moving through the many. I speak this word this morning, recognizing this one power, this one presence, called by many names, is expressing through all of life, through many forms. And it is so good to recognize that I am one with my brothers and sisters. I am one with this beautiful spinning ball that we live upon. I am one with all of the beautiful living creatures of this earth. And so from this place of oneness, it is easy for me to know that I am inseparable from my God and my good. And so I speak a word of power when I speak from this unified field, this recognition of a unified field, and I say thank you into it. And I amplify the good in my life each and every time I say thank you. knowing that what I appreciates in value with each and every breath. Thank you, God, for my life. Thank you, God, for my life. Thank you for this community, for this day, and for this service. And I claim for each of us a heart and a mind that are open, and ears to hear that which is ours to hear, and hands and feet and voice to do and say what is ours to do and say. The clarity to know and the courage to act, I say yes to that for each of us. Thank you, God. And so I let love lead my way. I feel this indwelling presence. I cultivate an awareness of it, and I let love, this palpable, powerful love, lead my way. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. We are one. We are one. I am you, you are me. We are one. And in this unity, we can live in harmony. For peace has come. Yes, we are one. And peace has come in our hearts, and we make it so in reality. For we are one.
Hi, I'm Janice DaCosta, and I will be doing today's reading from The Science of Mind titled, You Are the Divine in Genes. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Howard Thurman. He is in awe, for he is all. It is through love his presence is revealed. Ernest Holmes, The Voice Celestial, page 185. When you figure out what you are passionate about, you won't hit the snooze button anymore. Your soul assignment is not only divinely assigned, but you have to engage in it here in this dimension. You are the divine in genes, answering the call to action, finding something to love and live for. If you have a clear calling, you don't have to force yourself into action. Your passion will drive you. There may be twists, turns, and sometimes even a U-turn that will be the most direct route to your destination, but you'll be in love with the journey. The great gift to yourself is to honor your soul's purpose. It's why you were born. It's what makes you come alive. It's what brings forth your latent strengths and higher qualities. Rumi wrote, "Let the beauty of what you love be what you do." There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. I hope you all have an amazing Sunday. Bye.
There's only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life. Now there's only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life. Now there's only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life. Now there's only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life. Now there's only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life. Now there's only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life. Now there's only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life. Now there is only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life. Now there's only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life now. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is perfect. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is perfect. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now.
There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Affirm it with me. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. I love that beautiful chant by Lisa and Etika. And of course, stemming from that Dr. Ernest Holmes quote, there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Dr. Holmes was not saying that there's only one life and it's God's life because he was saying that he was giving his life over to God. He was saying, quite literally, there's only one. He says it throughout the Science of Mind textbook many times in all capital letters. You know, he means business when he goes with the all caps. But he was not saying, I'm giving my life over to God. He's saying there's only God, there's only life, there's only the one. He was saying that, quite literally, the only life sprang forth into existence as the many. The one in, through, and as the many. The one that sees and saw no division, no separation, no judgment, only one. Out of the one came the many. And we're all given this one perfect life to move through us in our individual expressions, to use it perfectly or not so perfectly, based on our decisions and how we maneuver in this experience of living. And so I was very inspired last week thinking about how we maneuver this life, how we maneuver the choices that we make the thoughts we think, the beliefs that we solidify by repeating thoughts on over and over and over. Thoughts on repeat become beliefs. And I was inspired by Dr. Edward Viljoen. He is the spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living. And you hear us say here at Carolina Center for Spiritual Awakening, as well as what they say in CSL a lot, Centers for Spiritual Living, is that working together to create a world that works for everyone. So he gave this wonderfully inspiring talk, and I remember one thing really stuck out at me, because he was talking about how, but what if your world and my world are two different things? What if what you're wanting for my world is different than what I'm wanting for my world, for example? And he gave this wonderful example of his mother wanting different things for her son. So, of course, I went to my mother wanting different things for her daughter. I remember being a teenager wearing these crazy, I used to wear the loudest pants, clothes, period, really loud. They would just yell at you when I walked in the room. But I wore these I forgot what they were called. It was like beach shorts. Anyway, they were loud. My grandmother asked me one time if I got those from a clown. But anyway, my mom hated those. She hated those pants, right? So I can remember all the way back to even before that, not wanting to wear the little patent leather shoes and the hair bows. Ugh. I'd run out the door and immediately jump in a mud hole just so I could get out of those clothes. So ever since I was little, through the crazy pants, the patent leather shoes and the bows, to the crazy pants, through, fast forward quite a lot. And then me becoming a non-traditional spiritual person, and then becoming a minister, something that, and she didn't really know any female ministers. And it was not something that was done in the church we grew up in. It was only men. And here I was. It's a different kind of church, and you're going to be the minister, and on and on and on. Oh, and then, quitting what she called a regular job, a normal job, to do music full time right out of college. And then there was, being gay. So all these things, right? I was totally relating to Dr. Edward, talking about how his world, his view for his world, and his mother's view for his world were not the same view. They're not the same world at all. And I could relate to that. And then he said something else that I really related to, and that was that in the end, I'm paraphrasing, but this is what I felt completely, is that in the end it came back to his mother's love. She loved him no matter what, and he loved her no matter what. And I think about my own experience. It took my mom a minute, right, to get over all of those hurdles I kept throwing at her, like any way I could not be normal, that was me. In her eyes, normal anyway. And yet, at the end of her life, we had great conversations talking, not just the end of her life. She finally got to a place in her life where we could talk about my ministry. We could talk about my music. We could talk about my relationship. We could talk about life. And for so long before that, we just didn't. And it was that love that brought us to this place of sharing. So I know that may seem like a tall order to live in that, there's only one life, that life is God's life. And also living in the idea of a world that works for everyone, really, but really everyone. And yet, I do believe it's possible, but I think that what it requires of us is basically the crux of Ram Dass's teaching, and that was live, serve, remember. Live, serve, remember. Love, serve, remember. So when we are in alignment with love, serve, remember, then we are being part of creating a world that works for everyone. We are recognizing that there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And so love, serve, remember. Love is recognizing that, as Rumi says, it absolves everything in its path. So being in touch with the love takes us out of the separation. Being in touch with how can I love, how can I serve, takes us out of judgment, takes us out of separation, takes us out of criticism and worry and fear. How can I love? How can I serve? Maybe it's love yourself more. Maybe it's how can I love someone else more. Maybe it's the love that's present in our lives that takes us back to the greater agape love in the first place. But being open and aware and present to love's presence, and then letting it move through us so that we can be in service to that love. How do I serve? And then the remember, I'm science of mind minister, but I'm also a Sufi. And in the Sufi tradition, we chant. We do zikr, which is chanting, which is for the purpose of being in constant remembrance of God. Remembrance, not of the word God, not of the word source or the word universe or the word spirit, not of the words, but of remembrance of the feeling of being held. I was talking to my prayer partner this week, and we both were like, oh, this felt good. To be in prayer with each other, to be in that sacred space with one another, because there, even with the busyness of our lives, in that space, it brings us right back to feeling the presence, remembering what it's like to literally feel held by the hands of grace, to be surrendering into the arms of love, remembering. And remember, as I said last week, this practice is important, because when you feel good in your practice, people feel good in your presence. So practice, spiritual practice, whatever that means to you. It could be, as I've said many times, laying in a hammock or taking a walk or petting your dog or whatever. But your spiritual practice is something that you do to take you back to the remembrance of the one life moving through all of life, the one source. That thing or things that you do to take you back to the remembrance of who and whose you are, that you're never separate from your source or any of its creation. That practice gets you back in touch with the love of spirit, the love of self, the love of others, the connecting power of love. And then by default, it just takes you to this place where you want to serve. You're giving from an overflow. You're not trying to be in service so you can look good or feel good or someone will think nice things about you. You can't help but be in service because it is an overflow of that connection, that presence, that remembrance, that love. Because you see, if we're not doing it from that space, then we're just like a bunch of 3 and 5-year-olds running around, no, do it my way, no, do it my way. They say that many of our beliefs are formed by the time we're 5 years old. So I've often said that if we're not living in our best spiritual game, that we're just a bunch of 5-year-olds running around kicking each other in the shin, go, no, do it my way. No, that's my toy. Get out of my sandbox. We had our nephews a few months back. We had them for a little while, a little visit. And Angie has this cute, funny thing that she does. She'll say, you better get your life together. And some people might say, you better watch it, or you better do that, being joking or whatever. But she says it a lot, you better get your life together. Well, the boys picked up on it. And they started saying, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, you get your life together. Yeah, I know. You might want to think about this before you let us babysit, because you never know what they're going to come back saying. Sorry about that, parents. But anyway, that was the cutest thing from the aunt's perspective. These two little boys looking at each other going, you get your life together. And they thought it was funny, and they were joking, and they were having fun. But when we're not living in love, serve, remember, when we're living in compare, judge, defend, protect, fight mode, then we're really saying, you get your life together from an angry 5-year-old's place that's all of a sudden an adult and still has that mentality within, right? Get your life together. Yeah, get our mind right, get our soul right, get ourself right, back into that flow of knowing that there's one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. That's why Dr. Ernest Holmes talks about a revelation of healing, not going out to get healed, but to release anything within that's blocking the healing process, whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, whatever. Because that one life that is perfect life is moving through us always and cannot be tarnished, diminished, or disturbed. And if we're out of touch with that, live, love, serve, remember. Living from love, serve, remember. If we're out of touch with that, then we are just moving around from our 5-year-old self, not from our most skilled self, as Don Miguel Ruiz would call it. We're definitely not remembering, as Janice shared in the reading today, that we are the divine in jeans. We are the divine walking around here in jeans, and so is the other person. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are part of me. You are the face of God, the divine in jeans. But we forget that sometimes, and we separate ourselves. We forget it about ourselves. We forget it about each other. And the other quote that I loved so much from that reading that Janice shared was the Dr. Holmes quote from Voice Celestial that said, "It is through true love that his presence is revealed." God's presence, source, universe, spirit, this loving presence is revealed through love itself, through the experience of love. So what else, feel free to comment in the comments. What else shuts you off personally from feeling that true presence of love? I've already listed some: criticism of yourself, of others, complaining, talk about that one a lot, trying to be what someone else wants, living from your doing instead of from your being, and then giving from your overflow, not believing in the good, that's a big one, choosing to constantly be afraid to look and believe in the good because you might be disappointed, so you're just going to go ahead and believe in the worst case scenario. So let me know, what are some of the things that shuts off the love for you? Remembering that belief is just a decision. It's a decision. It's a decision that gets repeated. Deciding to think a thought over and over and over until it is solidified into a belief. And Stuart Chase said this: "For those who believe, no proof is necessary. For those who don't believe, no proof is possible." So what are you believing, and what are you allowing to be possible through that belief? I'm encouraging you to decide, to affirm that there's only one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life now. Decide and affirm that feeling and being the presence of love is my priority. Say that with me. Feeling and being the presence of love is my priority. Feeling the presence of love is my priority. Being that presence of love is my priority. Not a to-do list, not an expectation or other people's demands or my own high standards. Feeling the presence of God is my priority. Being the presence of that love, that divine love, is my priority. This means kindness, consideration, compromise. Hey, happy Valentine's Day. Compromise. Relationships, y'all. You got to have some compromise in there. That doesn't mean compromising who you are. It means give a little. You got to give a little. That comes with the territory of being the presence of love. I'm always astonished by how many couples have different body temperatures. Like, what is that about? Why is there always one that runs hot and one that runs cold? Why is that? Like, I would have it on 72 all the time. Winter, summer, doesn't matter. 72. Feels good to me. I know people tell me I should live in San Diego, but because that's like what it is all the time. Angie, 69, 68. She's good. No. And she likes to sleep with a fan. I hate sleeping with a fan. So it's like this compromise thing has to happen. I'm realizing this as I'm talking about it because I haven't really compromised a lot until lately. And I finally decided, okay, I tell you what, if we could sleep during the nighttime at 72, then we can turn it down in the 60s during the day. And we've made that compromise. I've made that compromise. She's made a lot of compromises. There's no fan blowing on me directly. That's fantastic. So, but the point is making compromises, right? It's important. That may seem like a silly thing, but if it's so silly, then why do almost every couple out? Why are all the couples talking about where the thermostat is set? It's like this. It's on greeting cards for Valentine's Day. That's what made me think of it. It's everywhere. Because these are the little things, but it's the little things that add up in our primary relationship, in our relationship with our nieces, nephews, kids, spouses, families, coworkers, doesn't matter. We're all in relationship with one another. And it's whether we are willing to compromise, that directly affects how much we're willing to be that presence of love. And feeling the presence, being the present, that makes us come alive. It shines a light on the pathway that before us of all our decisions, all of the things that we are here to do. We make it so much harder than it sometimes has to be. I know I do sometimes. When really it's about letting that love lead us, as Ernest Holmes says, and trusting that the laws that govern this, the spiritual laws of the universe that govern us and govern everything, that's the way everything falls into place. But it's the love that leads the way when we let it. That love can do amazing things. Love can do amazing things. I was when I was thinking about this and the whole idea of get your life together. No, you better get your life together. And it going from funny to mean, and thinking about how so much of our trouble in the world is because this person or group of people over here think that this person or this group of people over here are not getting their life together the way they should. They're not making the decisions that would make the world a better place. But these people feel just as passionate that you're not making the decisions that will make the world a better place. So I was reminded, as I was thinking about what I wanted to share today, I was reminded of a beautiful story that's also one of my favorite movies. It's an incredible movie. I'm going to give a little bit of it away, but I still encourage you to watch it if you haven't seen it. It's called The Best of Enemies. And it is an extraordinarily good movie based on a true story that happened here in North Carolina, in Durham, North Carolina. There was a man named Cp Ellis who was raised in poverty, and he was taught from a very early age to believe that we're having this hard life because of black people and Jewish people, but mostly black people. We're having this hard life, boy, because of these black people. And so he was taught to hate black people. Meanwhile, you have a woman named Anne Atwater who fought her entire life for civil rights, for equality. She was fighting. And so in 1971, when school integration was trying to take place and they were having a hard time making that happen, they decided to bring two people to the table to be in partnership, so to speak, to make this happen. And that was Anne Atwater and C.P. Ellis. Now, CP was the grand cyclops of the Ku Klux Klan. And Anne Atwater was sent as a representative from the Housing Authority, actually told by her boss, you're going, because no one wanted that job. And nobody, as much as she wanted to see a better future for her children, this was not a coveted couple of weeks she had in front of her, right? That was a tall order, and her boss said, you're going, you have to go. And he was there representing the KKK. And they are put together supposedly to figure out how to do this school integration. He wouldn't even sit with her it was him and a couple other people in the cafeteria. He would just pace. He didn't want to be sitting with a black person. He said horrible things throughout this experience. But in the end, it was love that brought him around. It was the love for children, and specifically for each of their children. That love was their common ground, and he even said, we have a lot more in common than I thought. And they became not only the instruments by which this integration took place, they became friends. I had to look it up and go, did that really happen? Did they really become friends? They really did. It's an amazing, amazing story about how in the end it was love that brought it about. And when you look at all of the amazing stories out there, it wasn't the force that made something happen. It was the power, which is love, that made things happen, that got life together, that made it work for all involved. It was that power of love, and it is that power of love that's moving through us when we open ourselves to the knowing that there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect love that casts out all fear. And that life is my life right here and right now. I accept this, and I thank God for it. And so it is. Kids, we see you, we hear you, we appreciate you, and we love you just the way that you are. Divine love, moving through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, for the good in my life. So know with me here in this energy of gratitude that you can't outgive God. And so as I give of my time, I give of my talent, and I give of my financial resources back to the one source of all life through the avenues through which I'm fed, when I give back, I just dance in this dance of reciprocity. And so I say thank you in advance for each and every tithe and each and every offering given this day to the Carolina Center for Spiritual Awakening. I say thank you, God. And I say thank you for blessing the giver and the receiver. I'm grateful for the good in my life, and I know that I am living in this flow of inexhaustible good. And so I say thank you repeatedly. Thank you as I live in a state of love and gratitude. Thank you. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. We let the love. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We love you, we bless you, and we thank you. Have a fantastic week. See you soon.